Nicole Green here, your host of the Moms Who Made It YouTube channel. So today is our second episode, and before we begin, first of all, I want to apologize because you have not seen us in a few weeks, and I want to give you a heads up because at most you'll probably get 2 episodes a month from us, but definitely 1. We're dealing with former teen moms that are entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, etc. So when you're dealing with go-getters like that and bosses like that, you know, people are busy. So definitely look out for at least 1 video a month, and I'm glad that you are here with us and watching. So with that said, let's dive right in. Today we have Miss Nina Moore. She is an international entrepreneur, success coach, and speaker from Philadelphia. Her life has been spent on a quest to help others. Even as a child, Nina would take injured animals and hide them from her mother so that she could nurse them back to health. This was the beginning of a lifelong dedicated to service. Currently, Nina is the wife to a loving husband, Paul Moore, and a proud mother of 4 beautiful children. Can you guys believe that she has 4 children? She looks amazing. However, the beginning of motherhood started at the age of 15. Told she had ruined her life, Nina was plagued for years by the weight of shame and guilt. The challenge then became to prove everyone wrong, and Nina did just that. Finishing high school at the prestigious Philadelphia High School for Girls was no cakewalk, but this gave her an overwhelming feeling of accomplishment, promising herself daily that she would make her children proud of her. It was then that Nina then went to attend Beran Institute for Cosmetology and graduated at the top of her class. During this time, Nina began to cultivate and develop her love for music, which was a natural passion. The major turning point for Nina would be in August of 2014 when she was introduced to Total Life Changes, in which she held the position as global director. She's been featured in some of the most prestigious magazines, such as businessforhome.org and many more. Nina is committed to empowering others to see the greatness inside themselves and encouraging them to also dream again, live again, laugh again, breathe again, and most of all, bling again. So Nina, could you just, even though I just read your bio, could you, in your own words, just give us some background about you and how your journey began as a teen mom at the age of 15?
Ooh. Well, first I want to thank you for having me here, Nicole. You could have asked anybody else, and I was honored to get that message from you. And you know what? I think too many times we believe because we've made a mistake, because we've done some things that are not. Well, now it's kind of like the norm. There's so many people that are teen moms, but when we were coming up, it was not the norm. Especially if you figure I went to girls' high. There were so many women that hid it, so many young girls that hid it or got abortions, and there were 2 of us, 2 girls in my graduating class who faced our responsibility and kept our children. Another girl named Overcame, and she's very successful now as well. Her son and my son are both 30 years old, and so I just remember not just shame and guilt, Nicole, but as a bishop's daughter. So here I am, 15, the bishop's daughter, choir, director, and people think because you're pregnant that you were just some promiscuous girl. They don't know your story, so you're judged based on the outcome of what has happened to you. And I just remember, you hear in church, because you're a bishop's daughter, you hear in church,
right,
God forgives you and he's this loving God, but you're facing or you're feeling and hearing something totally different than what is being preached to you. And I just made a decision that my past does not have to dictate my future.
Right.
And when I made that decision is when life began to change for me.
The thing about like what you just said, like our past does not dictate our present or our future. And what has bothered me recently is that even though, you know, my daughter, she's 21 now, and I had her long ago, people still remember teenage pregnant Nicole. So it's just, you know, interesting that you brought that up, because even though in our minds we can move on from it, but it's like we're in this constant, not battle, but having to like prove that, oh, we're gonna do us, and we're gonna be successful at it, and win.
Right.
Bling again.
That's why your platform is so important.
Yeah.
Because so for years we wouldn't talk about being teenage moms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't look good.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't tell people I was 15. We hid it. We were quiet about it. And so when people say things like, well, you must have been 8 when you had your baby, right?
Oh,
and I
God.
say, yep, I was, right? I used to say,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I was.
Yeah.
When you really, really realize that because our past doesn't dictate our present, our future, it is what happened, and failure is really just a stepping stone on the classroom to success, right? Then when you tell your story now, when we tell our story now, it's from a place of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I don't have to feel ashamed or feel shameful about what I did when I was 15,
Yeah.
right? And then you start believing what the Word of God says about us. If we were forgiven, we're covered by the blood, all of our sins are washed away, then who are you to hold that over my head? Right?
And judge us.
And judge us. And people who do that, it's because they got a bunch of their own mess anyway. They got a bunch of their own stuff, and it's easier to project your stuff or your past stuff, but that's what the enemy's supposed to do. He is supposed to remind us of our past, about who we were, and it's our job to continue to remind him of his future and where he's going. And so you just can't allow, I was just talking about Psalm 51.
Mm-hmm.
Unto thee, O God, have I sinned, and only to thee. And if God is the person that I sinned against when I committed that sin, right? Then the same judgment that the person is using against us, right, is a sin, and they have to repent for that.
Exactly.
And so you just really have to make up your mind that what people think and say has nothing to do with the price of coffee in China.
Yeah. And when you're in it at the age of 14, 15, and 16, it's difficult because you're very vulnerable at that time, and just being pregnant, you're hurt, you're confused, you're lost, like you're in so many emotions, and
you're a kid. We were kids.
You're a kid having a kid. And the most important thing is the support. So what would you say for you, what helped you keep moving and keep going to better yourself?
My dad was hurt, very hurt. I mean, come on, he's the pastor, right? He was very hurt, but he was still supportive, because at the time my mom that raised me had a difficult time, and she shares this testimony, so this is not a badger. I'm not bashing her, because it was that's what was. She had a difficult time because she had just experienced a miscarriage, and then here I am now. She's doing the things for her daughter that she should have been doing for herself. So I as a woman, come on, we know that would be a hard place for us to be as well. We didn't know that. I didn't know that at 15, but she did come around closer to the, as I was closer to the end of my pregnancy. But it was an emotional thing. It was hard. My family, I had aunts, and they were supportive, but I actually allowed the enemy to toy with me a lot. And I was very sick while I was pregnant the whole time. All 9 months, I was nauseous and vomiting the entire 9 months. And there were days, Nicole, I have to be very honest, that I wanted to take myself out of here. I would stand at the top of the steps and just say, if I would just throw myself down the steps, then it would just end all of this. Nobody would have to be mad anymore. Not that I wasn't just trying to end the pregnancy. I was trying to just take myself to end me. Yeah. That's just it. Maybe if I'm not here, then nobody has to be upset with me anymore. And so people don't know that. They see you successful now. They don't know the days that I wanted to throw myself down the steps and just end it all, so nobody has to be mad at me anymore. And that's kind of like I was very depressed and didn't know it. So I went through a heavy depression. When my son was born, I didn't even have I didn't know how to find that nurturing thing. I thought it was something that should have clicked for me. And even though I was good to him as a mom, I had to, because my parents made me mother him. Like, they would not just take care of him. They didn't, it wasn't like a baby doll in the house. You know, a lot of moms end up doing things that they shouldn't do, right? And my parents were very strict about that. Like, no, you're gonna raise this child. You're gonna, you know, and I got $25 for allowance. I had to buy my son's Pampers out of that and get a trans bag and eat. So I learned how to be a hustler. I learned in school how to do things like do nails at my lunch break, and I walked up to the salon, to the mall, Shawham Mall, and they had the first nail booth that opened up at the very top of the mall. I don't know if you remember that, but in Shawham Mall, at the very top where I think Gimbals used to be, there was a big booth of nail salon that had opened up in the middle, and I would go and watch them do nails, and I learned how to do nails watching them. And then on my lunch breaks, I would do people's nails, and early in the morning when we got to school, I would do people's nails and things like that so that I could earn some kind of money to take care of my son. So I became a hustler having him. Having him created that hustle thing inside me.
It's amazing what our kids can bring out of us. Even though we give birth to them, they birth something in us. And I feel like they do it every time you have a child, another child. I have 3. And I feel like each one of my children birthed something different in me. What happened, so you went to cosmetology school. So how did that go for you?
So I remember my dad saying, beauty school's for dummies. Because the stigma, right? So here I am now, this teen mom, graduated, and I graduated from Girls High on time. I cried. I remember crying across the stage because everybody said I wasn't going to make it through high school, especially not through Girls High. And I went to beauty school like the following week. I finished Girls High, and then it was like, boom, right into beauty school, because I knew if I got a job, I would have got comfortable earning a little bit of money, you know, and so I went right to beauty school. And I excelled there too, top of my class, you know, because it was a profession for me. I was going to become a professional. Now, were all the girls there professionals? No. But I knew that I had to do something to take care of my son. So I decided, in the middle of school, I said to my parents, my mom and dad paid for me to go. I didn't have to take up any loans or anything like that.
That's awesome.
Thank God. Because I knew I couldn't go to college. I had to raise my son. And I remember halfway through it, I said, I got enough hours to be a nail tech. Can I just stop and just be a nail tech? And my mom said, no. She said, no, because what if you don't want to do nails? Just go ahead and get your license that way. And the next day, I no longer wanted to do nails. And I started focusing on hair. And then I decided to just be the best at it that I could be. I started going to color classes. And I started learning the tricks of the trade. And, you know, you do some bad haircuts coming out. You do some good haircuts coming out. But I made it my profession, so I showed up on time for my clients. You know, I wasn't one of those stylists that came in at 11 o'clock and your first is at 9. And I became a professional, and I excelled in what I did because I had great work ethic. But my parents did instill that in me.
Awesome. So before you got pregnant, like, where did you see your life?
Oh, I was going to be a singer. I was going to travel the world. I was Shaka Khan, like, you know, because I was Whitney Houston. And I thought that I would travel the world singing. I wanted to be a singer. I went to school with Jill Scott. And it's funny because Jill was like a poet. She did a lot of poetry. She didn't really sing in the same choir in school, but she wasn't like, I sang at everything. For school, I was in all the plays and everything. And I said I was going to be a singer and I was going to travel the world, and couldn't do that with baby. But that's what I thought. I would be all over the world.
Isn't that interesting? Like, we have this vision for our life, and it doesn't remotely come close to.
My father was a singer. So because my father was a singer, you know, and I sang in church, but that wasn't enough. Like, I needed to, you know, I needed to be Whitney Houston. You know, so I thought that was I knew that I was gonna travel though. And I always knew that I would be in front of people with a microphone. I thought it was going to be that avenue. I thought it was going to be through singing. I didn't realize it was going to be related to that.
Wow, that's beautiful. That you had such a big dream, but you still made it.
Still made it.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was rough. So when you're going through depression, you don't know you're going through depression.
Right.
Right. I didn't even know I was depressed. I was married. My first marriage ended in divorce. It was awful. Like, it was an awful time, because now you're starting to question. You know, when you're going through a divorce and when you find out this infidelity and things like that, you start to blame yourself. What's wrong with me?
Start to second guess. Right.
I gained a lot of weight. I was at my max, like 298 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
In my 5'3", I was 298 at 5'3". And I made a decision coming out of that I had to take my life back. So that was the first time that I dropped 100 pounds. Dropped 100 pounds, a little more than 100 pounds. And
but wait. Going back to the depression.
Yeah.
Because there might be a teen mom out there that is depressed and don't even realize it. So how did you realize that you were, and how did you get out of the depression? Or did you ever get out of it?
Yeah, so because I was going through a divorce, I remember I was sitting in my room and just crying. So I was faking it, going to church, lifting my hands, and leaving there feeling exactly the same. So because I was overweight, people don't understand when you really, really start understanding who you are and whose you are. Overweight that's a side effect of something else wrong. Whether it's low self-esteem. So what had happened was, because I had my son at 15, I was beat down by the church.
Right.
And the people, not the church, but people in the
right.
church, you know, they didn't love on me, right? They didn't love on me through that experience. The low self-esteem started kicking in, and you don't even know it. So although I thought I was cute, right? I thought I was a cute girl, but I kept saying, but it's got to be something wrong with me, because the baby's father wasn't involved. You know, now they whispering and talking about me. I made my parents, made my parents upset them, and I know that they had so many more aspirations for me.
Yeah.
And so now you're dealing with all of it. Nobody cares about how you feel at 15 being pregnant, because they're more concerned about how mad you made them.
Yeah.
And so to the young lady who's got that situation going on, everybody's mad at you because you're pregnant and you don't even know how to deal with the emotions or cope. I had nobody to talk to about what I was feeling, because they would run back to my mom trying to pit us against each other. And so I couldn't even express the way that I was feeling, because it always turned into something bad. Right? So now I'm holding on to everything I'm feeling. I can't even explain what's happening to my body. I don't know when I'm 15. The joy of pregnancy I didn't have. Right. Because I couldn't act like I was happy, because if I acted like I was happy, now my parents are mad, because are you happy you're pregnant? Or you did this on purpose? No, I laid down at 15 and said, oh, I want to get pregnant at 15. No, but those are all symptoms of other things that are going on. Going through divorce, I sat and looked in the mirror, and I asked myself, physically looked in the mirror, and I looked at myself, and that was the first time I realized, I looked in the mirror and saw that I was fat, like F-A-T, not P-H-A-T, because you can cover it up to make yourself look good. Right? We can put a wig on, we can do all those things, makeup, we mask. We always put Band-Aids over broken bones. And so I put that Band-Aid over a broken bone, and I looked in the mirror and I realized that you let yourself get out of control. And that was the day that I finally accepted. You can't overcome alcoholism until you can admit you're an alcoholic. And I looked in the mirror and saw that I was obese. And obesity, like I said, is a symptom of something else. Because I was depressed, I made bad decisions with the way that I ate, because I had low self-esteem. I made bad decisions. You make bad relationship decisions. All of it. You just make bad decisions. And I started speaking what the word said about me. That I was fearfully and wonderfully made. That I was complete in Him. That I was a daughter of the Most High God. I started, and I took little cards, sticky notes, and put them all over my room. My father thought I was crazy. He came over and was like, what are you doing? They were all. It was the first thing I saw in the morning and the last thing I saw at night, because you have to reprogram your mind.
Yeah.
And it all begins here. If you want to lose weight, it begins here. If you want to make more money, it begins here.
Yes.
If you want to be nice, you want to attract better to your life, it begins here.
Your mindset.
If you don't change this, you can forget it. You can have gastric bypass. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't change the way you think about yourself and your relationship with food, it doesn't matter. You're going to gain all that weight like that.
So, was it after the divorce that you lost those 100 pounds?
The first time. And I gained some weight back.
Okay.
I got lazy. Started falling into that trap of not taking care of me.
Yeah.
Because you get so caught up in taking care of everyone else. You know what? If you want to be healthy, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, you got to be a little selfish.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And know that it's okay to be a little selfish. No, it's okay to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes say no. And I stopped being selfish, and I allowed myself to gain some of that weight back. And then in 2014, when I had my 4-year-old, because I've got a 30-year-old, 25-year-old, 19, and now a 4-year-old. So when I had that 4-year-old in 2014, on the anniversary of my 21st birthday, here I am in my 40s saying, what the heck was I thinking about,
mm-hmm.
right? And I had gained weight back. I was in my 200s again. And I made a decision, okay, you got to be healthy, because now you got a 4-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got a grandbaby. I call myself a grandma. Now my 30-year-old has his first daughter. And you realize that you've got to live, and you've got to live and want to be healthy. And Paige has more energy than me. So I knew that I had to get myself my life back in track. And that's why I made a decision, again, turn the switch on, that you've got to make decisions to live.
And that's when Total Life Changes came about?
That's when that first company came about, yeah. So I became a professional network marketer, and I used the product along with the change the mindset to, and I left that company in 2016 and joined another company because I just wanted to change. I wanted to. So health and wellness, it was not always easy, because why do we question everything we see? Because most people really don't want to change. They want it real easy. They want instant gratification.
We live in, and I'm starting to really pay attention to that now. We live in a microwave world. Nobody really wants to put in the work or the time. It's you see something and you want it, and you want it right now. You want it today. And when you don't get it, or when they don't get it, they give up.
Right. Because they don't understand success is success. When you can see someone's success, it's really only the evidence, or what I call the highlight reel of all of the stuff you're doing behind the scenes. You don't see all the grit that goes behind somebody having a bunch of muscles and 6-pack abs or 12-pack abs. You don't see all of that. That's the end result, or the highlight reel of what's taking place in the gym, when you don't see them up at 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So when people see you successful now, they don't know what you sacrificed, right, to get what you have. And so for me, when I'm talking to young moms, they've got to understand that they are not the mistake that they made, right? And we only the mistake we made was we committed fornication, 90% of the world is doing, right? And I'm not saying that it makes it okay.
Right.
I'm just saying that's the only mistake that we made, and it yielded the offspring, right?
Yeah.
The child is still a gift from God.
Yeah.
No matter what. Now we have a responsibility, and for whatever reason, God entrusted us to raise this seed, for whatever reason, right? And we have to take on the responsibility and understand that it is just that, a responsibility that we have to nurture and rear this child, to see what the children's gifts are, and their abilities and their talents. And unfortunately, what we desire is not on the forefront anymore. That goes on the back burner, because the child's needs should come first, right? And then they got to understand that, yes, you can still be successful. It's going to be a little harder because the child comes first. So it's going to be a little harder. But it's not that it can't happen. Just gotta make the decision that, you know what, my child deserves better. And you know why I became successful? Because I made a decision that I'm never ever gonna be broke another day of my life. Not ever. Because broke is hard too. Choose your heart. Broke is real hard. Telling your children no is real hard.
Oh my goodness.
Lying to them. Hide and shut off notices. That's real hard too. I chose my heart. And my heart led me to the successful life that we're living right now.
And that's a blessing, because at the end of the day, they're watching you. Whether you have a husband or a support system, they're watching mommy.
Yeah.
Whether daddy is there or not, they're watching what is mommy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they can take that and build their life, with that example or that inspiration that we set for them. So is there anything, what would you tell 15-year-old Nina today?
I would tell 15-year-old Nina to forgive yourself as God has forgiven you. And I think if we can go back and say, you know what, God, I made a mistake, right? But forgive yourself and then put some blinders on. Because no matter what, the enemy is still trying to remind you of your past and the people around you, right? And then I would say find a good mentor. If it's not your mom, if it's not your grandma, if it's not your auntie, find someone who's been where you were, but find someone, most of all, who is where you desire to go.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Right? And let someone mentor you. That's so vitally important. Mm-hmm. And then, if the child's father is not in your life, in that child's life, find someone to mentor your. If it's a boy, find a man that, not that a man you're sleeping with, and stop making. And let me tell something else. Let me say this. Stop calling everybody you messing with uncle.
Oh my God.
Stop bringing uncle home so everybody you dating is uncle this and uncle. No, they're not. Don't do that. Your kids should come first. Respect your children. But find a man that can mentor your son. Your son needs to know how to treat a woman. Your son needs to know how to tie a tie. Your son, there's some things, how to open a door. We can't teach our boys that. And I thank God for my brother, my oldest brother Rashid, who I named my oldest son after, and my dad, because they were there for my sons. When their fathers weren't. Find a man. So you gotta forgive yourself, right? And know that it's not the end of the world. It's a hiccup. It's a road. It's a bump in the road, right? But you still can be all that you want to be, all that you desire to be. It may take you a little longer, right? Maybe there's a little detour in the path, but the end game is still the same. That whatever you desire, envision it and write it down. Write the vision, make it plain. Write it down. Whatever you desire, make a dream board, right? You can still have and encourage your children to put their dreams on that board as well. And then you write a plan. Write a plan that you may not know how you're going to get there, but you got to write it down. Write the goals down so that you can start checking it off. You know what I mean? If it means you want to get your degree, or if you want to, go to cosmetology school, you want to get a trade, whatever the case may be, right? Learn about investments. And those are the things that I would say to Nina at 15. Forgive yourself. Find a mentor. Love on your children, right? Find a mentor for your children. If you don't have one, I was fortunate to have that. But make a plan, make a plan, write the vision and make it plain, and still, no matter what happens in your life, continue to push for every one of your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, because you can do it.
Unapologetically. Well, thank you, Nina, for joining me and accepting my invitation to share your story and just insight on how it is to be a teen mom, but also come out on top. I really appreciate you taking the time out your busy schedule.
I know we had to reschedule this.
Yeah, we had to.
I was in New Orleans.
We had to reschedule this, but Nina, she's an amazing person. Can you tell the viewers where to find you?
Absolutely. Well, especially I want you all to follow me on Instagram or Facebook, but Instagram is really where you want to follow me at Nina_Moorer, MOORER. And listen, every Monday and Friday morning at 9 a.m. I do a live bringing in motivational, inspirational call. I go live on Instagram. And guess what? I want you to remember this, right? You'll find me on Facebook, Nina Moore. I believe in just I am who I am, right? So no like hot mama, sexy, fine, you know, and all of that. No, it's just Nina Moore. You can find me all over Facebook on Nina Moore. But you got to remember this, that no matter what's going on in your life, right? No matter what it feels like, looks like, tastes like, smells like, I don't care what's going on, you got to remember that you can live again, you can laugh again, you can hope again, you can dream again, and you most certainly can bling again.
Again, just a quick reminder to you guys. I'm not going to be posting episodes, you know, like every day or 3 times a week. You're dealing with some moms who made it, and with busy schedules and with children, and you know, that are out there doing what we need to do. So I appreciate you guys for watching us. Don't forget to subscribe.